Since the story broke in midweek, tens of thousands of words have been written and broadcast about the possibility of Steven Gerrard becoming the next Rangers manager. And it isn't just the talk of the steamie around these parts. This tale of the unexpected has even been a hot topic of discussion in India. Just ask former Rangers fullback David Robertson. Currently mid-season in India, as manager of Real Kashmir in the I-League 2nd Division, Robertson has been an interested observer from afar as the will-he-won't-he saga around Gerrard continues. For Robertson, it is an intriguing concept. But for someone who played during the Ibrox club's most successful period, appointing a new manager is only a part of a bigger fix needed on Copeland Road. Obviously I've got an interest in the story with my Rangers background, says Robertson, who, having won League and Scottish Cup winners' medal with Aberdeen, was signed by Walter Smith in July 1991 for just under £1 million. But the Gerrard story has been big out here on social media. It's Gerrard, with his Liverpool connection, because English football is just massive in India, as it is everywhere. It is a route partly travelled by Rangers more than 30 years ago when they recruited another former Anfield legend from Sampdoria. Comparisons are easy to make, as might be major errors of judgment according to Robertson. I think what they are trying to do is create the Graham Souness era at Ibrox again. If it came off, it would be amazing because of what it led to. But so many things have changed in the game. Rangers wouldn't have the financial clout they had, or the advantage of English clubs not being in Europe and having to build stadiums. It would be really tough to repeat, and they could end up with the John Barnes scenario instead. I sincerely hope that isn't the case. But it is a gamble. Pedro Teixeira was a huge gamble and it didn't pay off. The Rangers board can't afford a repeat, but they appear confident. What has to be worked out in terms of Gerrard is whether the possible reward would outweigh the risk. If I knew the answer to that, but Gerrard might be the kind of person though to carry it off. While lacking in practical experience, Gerrard has more than enough theory to back up his case, says Robertson. There's been a lot said about his inexperience as a manager. Okay, I can see why. But in football terms, he's played 500 times for Liverpool, 100 times for England, and has worked under some great managers at all levels. One thing he would be guaranteed is respect. I don't think there would be anyone in the Scottish game who'd achieve what he has. A Champions League winner's medal? That's not a bad background to have, and it's far better than a great many who have gone on to make it at managerial level. If he is lacking the experience, then it's important he has the right number too. If you go back to when Souness arrived, the first signing he made was Walter Smith, and look how well the club was served with that appointment. There is talk of Gary McAllister being involved, which again, would be a massive piece of recruitment. If you are looking for the wow factor, then you'd get that with this appointment. If people in India are talking about it, then you have achieved that. But Rangers need to achieve results and success. Other names have been mentioned. Neil Warnock and Stuart McCall for one. Stuart knows the club inside out, but Warnock would only be short-term in my mind. That might be all it takes, a big character, a quick fix. Ellen Pardue, Frank de Boer, someone who would have an immediate effect. There are a lot of names out there. Getting the right name, that is the real test. What also needs to change is this attitude of second best being good enough. That has never been good enough for Rangers. You're first or nowhere. No matter how much money they have, or how much they don't have, you need to be winning every game. Is Gerrard ready for that expectancy? Robertson, who clocked up 250 appearances and collected 6 Scottish Championship medals and a further 3 badges in both the League and Scottish Cups, sees parallels between events at Ibrox and Hampden. It was like when everyone wanted Gordon Strachan out of the Scotland job. And then you end up with Big Alex McLeish again because, for various reasons, there isn't really anyone else you can go for. People are in jobs, or they don't want the risk, or the job might be too big for them. I see Rangers being a similar situation. Rangers need stability, and need that for a season or two. But you need a clear plan, and for me, that has been lacking for a good few years. For 2 years or more now, Rangers have just gone around in a big circle and haven't moved on, really, as a team. Players haven't been up to it, same with managerial appointments, and the club have just seemed to respond and react to what is happening, without consideration for the knock-on effect. I feel sorry for Graham Murdy. Twice he's been thrown in the deep end with the weight of expectation around his neck. He has done okay, but when you hear him, he is almost apologizing all the time. For what? So much of it isn't his fault. And where does he go now? It is his job, but it is going to be really hard to go back and start taking the youths knowing you once had the manager's job on a part-time basis. Would he still want that role within the club? I feel really sorry for him because he has done his best in near-impossible circumstances, twice. If Rangers have toiled on the pitch, off-field, their decision-making has been equally wanting, according to Robertson, who will be back at home in Aberdeen once the season ends in India in just over a month. I'm reading Alan McGregor is coming in, and so is Scott Arfield from Burnley. How does that work, in all honesty? Who is making that call? I am not saying McGregor isn't up to it, but managers do have their own idea of what they like in a goalkeeper. Every coach does, but McGregor has been earmarked for a return. And for me, that is just so typical of what Rangers have done in the last few years. They appoint a manager, then a director of football, entirely back to front. Then they recruit players that the manager hasn't been consulted about because they don't have a coach. All that has happened is that Rangers have spent money to stand still. And now they'll need to find more money for transfers should Gerrard take the job, because he will have his own ideas. There is a proper order in which things should be done, and Rangers haven't followed those basic rules or strategy. And it has wasted 2 years. 25 years ago, Robertson was an integral part of a Rangers team that, having gone undefeated through a Champions League campaign, and 44 games unbeaten in all competitions, was securing a domestic treble with victory over Aberdeen in the Cup final. And then, even now, you could rhyme off that Rangers team. You couldn't do that with the current team, because there have been so many changes. Recruitment has been poor at times, and then there is the added disappointment of players not wanting to play for Rangers. I don't blame David Bates for wanting to test himself in Germany with Hamburg. Good luck to him. But not wanting to play for Rangers? That's a situation that cannot sit comfortably with supporters. It is, sadly, the reality of the situation. He concluded, Rangers will want to take something from the final Old Firm game of the season. But for me their best chance was in the last league game. All that did was confirmed the gap between the teams, which became a gulf in the semi-final.